So for this painting, we'll be using the paints, a red, a crimson red, any red you can get, a yellow, I'm using yellow deep, you can use any yellow, a grey, a black, and the light umber, and also the white. Then the brushes that we'll be using are a large round brush, two medium size round brush, two smaller round brushes, a paper palette for mixing the paint, and the glass container for the water. We'll be using a textured paper during the painting.
I'm going to start with a small round brush. First, I'm going to just outline the composition with the gray. Just going to position where my apple is going to be. Just keep creating an outline. Next, I'm just going to bring in more detailing on the apple, just outlining the stem. Now we'll move on to the surfaces on which the apple is lying on, just outlining the borders and the shadow area, just to get an idea on where to put our paint with the gray and the small brush. Next, we'll take yellow and do an underpainting for the apple. Just using a small brush, I will load yellow paint on the brush and just cover the whole of the apple. Next, I'm going to load the small round brush with red and try to fill in and recreate the red apple. I'll use small pulling strokes downwards to create that pattern on the apple. Just going to make sure that I blend in with the yellow underneath to give it a more realistic effect, and always remember where the light source is coming from, and on that portion I'm going to leave it as such, the yellow brilliance, to recreate the light falling on the apple effect. Just going to pull downward strokes, making sure to have the idea of light and shadow in play. Next, I'm going to take a little bit of black and to fill in the shades of the shadow area. Just going to give small pulling strokes at the bottom of the apple where the light is the least. I'm just going to fill in this area with black. Make sure that you take a very small amount of black and you can just fill in that shadow area. Next, we will build up the shadows near the stem and where the depression of the stem is. I'm just going to use a little bit of black with the same brush. I'm just going to add some detail, play around with the highlights and shadows similarly, just blending the colors so that everything looks homogeneous. Adding one more layer of red, just using small pull strokes, giving a little bit of detail with the red once again, making sure that the light source reflection on the apple is not covered. I'm just going to build up that area once again with yellow, just blending all the colors. The more layers there is, the more the painting will look beautiful. Just blending all around to give a more smooth effect. Now using black, I will just again highlight the areas near the stem, giving more of a shadow effect there, just building that area. Along with that, I will highlight the stem too. Now using a little bit of gray, I'll just give light on the stem. I'll also highlight the most prominent part of the apple and give a little bit of grayish tone there. I'll use the same round brush to blend that area with the gray and just let it merge in with the surrounding area. Wherever required, I'll just give a little bit of highlight with the same gray and a little bit of white too to make it more prominent. to recreate where the light falls. Next, I will use the same round brush to define the borders. I'm loading the paintbrush with a little bit of black and just outlining the borders. Now the area beneath the apple, I'm just going to do an underpainting of gray with the same brush. Just fill in that area with gray. Now using a large round brush, I'm just going to build up the bottom half with the burnt umber. Just adding a lot of water. Using the large brush, we will cover the whole of the area. By using a larger brush, you can, cover large areas pretty quickly. Adding a little bit of water to make the paint flow better. Just blending in to the grays, smoothing it out, and filling the whole of the area with the burnt umber. Now to recreate shadow, I'm going to use a bit of black and fill it towards the outer side of the paper. We can see the light towards the center of the paper, and towards the outside area of the paper you can see there is more of black. Now I just built up the whole table area with black, blending in the browns and the grays to create that stark difference between where the light falls and where the shadows fall. So you can see how I'm recreating that over here using the black, just outlining all the areas, just blending in from the layers that we created earlier, just smoothing it out. We'll define the bottom half of the apple a little later. Here we'll just make sure that the shadow light play comes out correctly. Using the large round brush and the black, I will just keep on defining where the shadows are. Now defining the bottom half of the apple where the shadows are. We'll blend in with a little bit of red again to make sure that the bottom half of the apple comes out good where the shadow falls. Just keep on blending to get that effect. Now using a medium-sized round brush, I'm just going to blend out the black that we added and just blend it into the reds so that you can get a very smooth finish for the apple. Now we will define the outer borders of the apple with black. We're going to fill in the background with black. So first let's outline the apple and the table so that we can do the filling in later on. Now we move on to the background. Using the medium-sized round brush, we will fill in the background with black. I've moved on to a larger round brush to cover the areas faster. I mix a little bit of brown too to create that beautiful shade effect. You can see how dynamic the painting looks when we add a little bit of brown to the black. Now using the medium-sized round brush, I'm going to once again define the borders of where the table meets the background as well as the borders of the apple. Just defining it and correcting the shape wherever required. You can also use a detailed brush for this stage, whichever you feel comfortable with. Just define the borders to correct the shape of the apple. I also just define the stem with the same brush, and also the shadow area, just giving the final strokes and just blending in. And there you have it, your complete still life apple painting. I hope you enjoyed your painting.